In this video you will learn how to record macros and why macros are beneficial in BlueStacks, more importantly in Era of Chaos. As you can see, this is a retired account. I retired because I had to click too much and I couldn't afford time-wise to continue with this account. Videos will still come on this account, by the way, in the future. I just haven't had time to release them because of more important content. Now, the issue is that the best example to demonstrate why you would need macros is the following. There is this restricted domain that I'm trying out for the first time on this account because last week, frankly, I just didn't have the capacity to run it, and this is not an account that deserves a VIP at this stage. So you put in some units. It doesn't matter, it can even be one unit because until level 100 you're fine. You put in the hero and basically activate the domains if you have. Now I don't have any because this was still a relatively new account, and just do one battle. That's easy, I think. That's not a macro yet. Yeah, just fast forward. It's gonna be done. This is gonna be your experience until level 100. And in level 101 it's gonna be impossible for most of you to beat level 101. Now, from now on, to get from floor 2 to floor 100, for most accounts all you need to do is press the quick combat 98 times. This is a perfect opportunity to record a macro. You see, all you need to do is this. Now, you see this thing on the right. This is BlueStacks 4, by the way. There is BlueStacks 5, there is Nox, there are many other emulators out there. Legality of using emulators. I would use plausible deniability to explain why it is supposed to be an unenforceable issue that you use emulators or you don't use emulators, because I think in some games they prohibit it, in other games they don't. Just consult your terms and conditions on whether the game that you're playing enables the usage of emulators. If not, then bear in mind that most content creators also use emulators to create videos like this one. So for example, if you ask Era of Chaos, they may say one day that no, please don't use emulators. In that case, I would ask, then what about Soul's videos? What about these videos? What about other people's videos? We should not record them either because we're using an emulator. What about the test server? Some people were instructed specifically on the test server to use set it up, the APK and everything on a test server, right? So we're getting into waters, and how do you enforce it? Because an emulator basically pretends to be a Samsung Galaxy or pretends to be a certain device. How do you distinguish between something that pretends to be a legitimate device and something that is a real device? It's unenforceable. This is my opinion at this stage. So, talking about the macro. On the right you have a feature bar, and I will have to check it myself. There is record screen, take screenshot and so on. Multi-instance manager doesn't matter, location setting, portrait landscape. But there is a macro, there you go, here near the top, macro recorder. This is what you need. It's not rocket science, it's not even hard. You click it, and then you just press record new macro. For example, I have a DOC 3+1 is Duel of Champions. That's something I can do. Record new macro. I will record it. You press the center of the quick combat. Very important, it's supposed to be near the center of its hitbox. You count 1, 2, 3, 4, just in case it goes slower, click. And then at the top you stop the macro recording. It took 18 seconds for me. And you can also name your macro restricted domains ×1. Okay, so that you know what the macro is. I would like to also emphasize the importance. Sequence selection iteration is the software engineering term that we're doing. Sequencing means that you do one macro after another. You can basically merge macros. Selection is that if there is a condition, then you do one, otherwise you do the other one. I don't have a use case for selection. Iteration is that you recorded it once and execute it multiple times. Here you go to restricted domains ×1 settings. Here is the settings. And you say playback speed, you can toggle it. You can speed it up if needed, so you can record the macro really slowly and you can also speed it up. But more importantly, repeat action how many times? I will repeat it 50 times, for example, in this, or 20 times, just for the sake of experiment, 20 times. And save. Change is saved, there you go, now you can close this. And then you press play. And for the remainder of the video, I'm not playing anymore, my hands are up, you see. For now, I won't keep my hands up for the remainder of the video, but I'm effectively not playing. Very important that the macros that you record only work on one resolution. So if you change the resolution of the screen, there will not be enough, so the pixels won't match, and most likely the clicks themselves that you did with your mouse won't work. So this means that you need to make sure that whenever you record the macros, the emulator should stay in the exact same resolution. I have to do it on full screen for the sake of the video, but normally it is not on full screen. The other important caveat is the following. If you don't have the emulator visible, then the macros won't work either. So you cannot just put it aside and do something else and the macro not appear on screen. I have a second monitor, that's why I execute the macro. Also, principles. There is a principle in software engineering called the single responsibility principle. It doesn't mean that one macro in this specific case should have one and only responsibility. No, it's not about that. It means that there is only one reason that you can possibly have to change the macro. There is just one reason. This implies on some level that a macro has only one case, but you're supposed to change it in one specific way. Why is this important? A lot of people think that when they record the macro, they essentially record their daily chores for like 15-20 minutes, and then they just execute one macro. There is jitter in that, because some of the battles take longer, others take less time. Sometimes there is a network connection issue where you need to wait for the XHR request to reach the server and administrate it on the server and get back to the response, and sometimes it's a lower amount of time, sometimes it's a higher amount of time. Whenever I run the macro 100 times, for example, sometimes I see that the results are like 99 succeeded, 98 succeeded. Because sometimes one battle may take slightly longer. So this is why you need to record as short of a macro as possible, and you need to set the repetition in a way that it works. Another important thing is that you need to set up the macro such that it is repeatable without any external action. So for example, if you record all your daily chores, let's say you have like 10 different macros for them. In that case, I would recommend the following. You are on the main screen, on the home screen, and then you click on a certain location in the game. You do what is needed, and then you navigate back to the main screen. This way, you don't have to do a manual navigation back from the feature to somewhere else. You don't need to visit the features, you don't need to go back from the features. You just need to press execute macro. And this will most likely make the game a lot more user-friendly for you. And just get a life. That's my recommendation. While the macro is running, you can do something more productive, something more enjoyable, something more useful. This can be reading a book, this can be responding in another window to emails, this can be work, this can even be a meeting for those who are in online meetings. And meanwhile, that the 100 battles are going on, don't ask my opinion about game design on this video, it's not the purpose. While the 100 battles are going on, it takes you zero effort to monitor what is going on. You just look back at the emulator. By the end of the macro, execute it 100 times. This time only 20 times, it's about to end. You're gonna get the results and you can finish the feature. There you go, the macro has ended with 20 repetitions. You may choose to optimize your macro, meaning that maybe you record it slowly and then you execute it at 1.5 speed, 2x speed and see if it still works. Or you record multiple macros with different delays and test which one is the better. Because if you can save just 1 second out of those 18 seconds, 1 second multiplied by 100 if you have 100 battles in this week, implies almost 2 minutes, 1 minute 40 seconds of runtime saved. It's not active time, but let's suppose that you have 2 accounts, like I do on 256, 267, and here I've retired this account because there are too much of this maintenance cost in terms of clicks. So if you have this, then it may be beneficial for you to automate it in a way that it's a bit faster. And those games that are meant to be strategic, those game modes that are meant to be enjoyed in some way or fashion, obviously you do them manually. Obviously you play this game because you enjoy some parts of it and you automate the rest. And now you got an opportunity with this macro to automate those parts that may have been suboptimally implemented. I'm quite certain that one day this game mode will change. But I'm also quite certain that until we get there, my job here on this channel is to educate you on what is possible, to just put a band-aid on it and make it very, very easy to still go through the 100 floors. And then on level 101 you get no chance anyway, most of you get no chance. Some of you do, but unfortunately the situation works in a way that in order to beat level 100 you don't need much. In order to beat level 101, even if you spend $500,000 diamonds and $5,000 on whatever offers are available to you today, there is a chance that you still won't be able to beat level 101. With this level of difficulty spikes, your objective is to complete level 100 as quickly as possible. One final tip in terms of macros, super important. If you set up your macros properly, here I don't have a full setup, then it also acts as a checklist of things that are claimed in a mandatory way. So this means that if you have all the macros set up and you go through them one by one, you won't miss claiming one single resource. You will have everything claimed. Now it's not gonna be easy to claim it because, for example, if you scroll left and right, you cannot specify the exact user input to scroll pixel perfectly. So whenever I click on the marketplace in the middle, I may click on the left, I may click on the right in another playthrough. So whenever you are in the marketplace, for instance, there you see that you have a lot of stores. It is very difficult to click on the cross-server store. Why? Because it's not visible here. And it is not visible at the very bottom either. It is safe to scroll more than what is absolutely necessary to get to the very bottom. And these are easily reachable stores. These stores in the middle are not easy to reach because sometimes scrolls are not pixel perfect. And exactly for this reason, if you automate, for example, Battle of Unions, oh, we have a bear here, amazing. And the dwarf. So if you automate this, then I suggest the following. Even if you get suboptimal points, you fight the first 4 battles, and you scroll all the way down, then you scroll a bit more, so that you're definitely at the very end, and then these buttons are gonna fall into the exact same place, pixel perfect. And then you do the last 4 battles, and you skip the middle 2 battles. It's not optimal because the middle 2 battles are better than the battles below it, than most of the time in terms of points. But hey, it's automated. Some people pay resources to get a suboptimal solution. That's what I recommend. And I hope that this improves the experience of the game big time until the well-awaited direction change comes in terms of user experience. I'm hopeful for it. And if it comes, then you can cut down on your macros, and until then you can still enjoy those parts of the games that require change.